This is the latest movie by Todd Haynes, who's previously made movies like Carol, which I thought was definitely good, but I wouldn't necessarily say I loved it. He also made that really weird but sort of fascinating Bob Dylan movie, I'm Not There. So he's an interesting filmmaker, but at the same time, I'm really here for Mark Ruffalo. I mean, I just love the guy, and while I do like him as the Hulk in the Marvel movies, I do want to see him in something else once in a while too, and at this point it's been a while. But he more or less picks up where he left off with Spotlight, as this too is based on real events. And while he doesn't play an investigative journalist in this, he does play a lawyer, who ends up doing a fair bit of digging himself too in order to get to the bottom of things. And the story here follows him as he gets presented with a case that's not really up his alley. But at the same time, it sorta is, and he does seem rather compelled to take it on. And I'm not gonna get into the details of the case here, because I personally knew nothing about it either. And I'm honestly a bit shocked I hadn't even heard about it before, because I looked into it and it was apparently a huge case and one that turned out to be very fascinating. And it's basically a classic case of the big guy trying to screw over the little guy and trying to get away with it. As many major corporations tend to do when there's millions or billions of dollars at stake. And watching this was honestly infuriating, learning about some of the, well, frankly disgusting and deplorable stuff some of these companies get up to. And the case it deals with is the DuPont case, so if you're familiar with that one, you probably know what I'm talking about, and yeah, it definitely riled me up. Mostly because I know most of this actually happened, this isn't just made up fiction, and that just adds another level to it, and it's probably why I tend to like these kind of movies. In fact, I do have a bit of a soft spot for them, even the ones that aren't that great. And I would say that this one in particular falls somewhere in the middle. It's far from the worst one I've seen, but it's not quite among the best either. But it is still definitely good, and I only really have one small issue with it. And that's the pacing in the beginning, because it takes a while to get going. But once it did get going, I didn't really have any issues with it at all. And a lot of that had to do with really solid writing and a very solid performance by Ruffalo. Speaking of performances, I really loved Bill Camp in this as the farmer. He plays this really gruff, no-nonsense kind of guy, and he sorta stole the show here. Anne Hathaway, on the other hand, she felt kinda underutilized as the wife. I mean, she only really got maybe 2 scenes to actually shine in this, where she had more than a line or two, and I liked her, especially in the kitchen scene. That was great, I loved it, but other than that, they didn't really give her much to do, which is a shame, but on the other hand, not really every character can be the protagonist. So yeah, to sum it all up, I liked this quite a bit. I found the story to be equal amounts infuriating and riveting. And beyond some minor pacing issues early on, I didn't really have any problems with it. So how about it? Would I recommend this one? Sure, if you like dramas with a hint of a thrillery edge to them, definitely. Or if you just want to know more about the DuPont case, then this is probably more entertaining than reading an article. So maybe check it out, maybe don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.